Yesterday, they played the Mets, and as I said, I was surprised to see Jake DeGrom as an ERA almost at 5 yesterday. That sort of that was a real shocker to me, and all this. Anyway, we'll talk about that. And yet, still, the Reds won a 1-0 game. Braves also won 5-1. I'll give you some highlights of those later on, I suppose. Get you caught up to date NHL playoffs and such. There's also, and I'm going to push this back. I'm going to do something that maybe some would say is unwise. Yes, I'm going to push the Tennessee stories, and for that matter, the TSU stories, to the next segment because, well, I think you already know what those stories are, but I'll give you my take here in a little bit. Marquis Bilson, Tri-City Sports Now. I've been talking a lot about this Major League Baseball attendance down. I always say this, I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. I was watching a ball game last night. And it was, ironically, one of the reasons why. It was at a sports bar. There was no sound, but it was Pirates-Reds. And so all my first love as a kid, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I'm watching them and, seeing that, Sin-Shu Chu is still playing. He's there with the Rangers. And we're doing all that. And, I'm getting acclimated again and getting excited, and I'm kind of living and dying with the last 2 innings and such. Is he going to throw a fastball? This sort of thing. And really paying attention and enjoying myself, to tell you the truth. But not a lot of people are, and I think one of the reasons why is baseball, as I think it was meant to be played, is no longer. Starting pitchers are asked to throw 9 innings. They're asked to throw 5, and anything else is bonus. Think about that. Daniel Norris, for instance, his game yesterday. We'll get a little bit to this. He was a starting pitcher, 7-3 loser to the Phillies. He does not get the decision. He gets a no decision. He goes 64 pitches before he's taken out for a pinch hitter. Think about this. He goes 64 pitches before he's taken out for a pinch hitter. That is a product of the DH. Oh, and here's Norris, who, by the way, if you can remember this, was, one of the first, he was the first American League pitcher ever to hit a home run at Wrigley Field. They made a big deal about that, And of course, for how many years at Wrigley Field were there no American League pitchers because you didn't have interleague play? Come on. I think there probably were a few Federal League pitchers who hit home runs at Wrigley Field before any National Leaguers did, to be brutally honest with you, although I guess I'd have to check the records out for that. And a few of you are probably, what's the Federal League and all that? But, I want you to think about this here. It's 1-1. You've tied the game. You got a pitcher up who's gone 5 innings. 64 pitches. Pitchers are asked now to throw 5 innings if they start. He's scattered 5 hits. Nope, call it the pinch hitter. Bullpen loses the ball game. Now, there was a time when, if you had 9 or 10-man staffs, you were not pinch hitting for Daniel Norris there. There was a time that your value as a pitcher and your overall wealth as a baseball player was, we never really expected you to win the batting title, certainly not playing every 4 or 5 days as a pitcher. But you probably were expected to keep your average, maybe, behoove you if you kept it around the Mendoza line so that you could drive in a run in that situation. Now, if it comes to 7th inning or something like that, that's a little bit of a different deal. But, no, Ron Gardner pinch hits for Norris, the Science Hill grad, in the 6th inning. And what happens? Pincher doesn't come through. Norris could have done that. Tigers take a 2-1 lead in the next inning. Bullpen gives up 6 runs in the last 2 innings up at Philly. Come on. And this is modern baseball strategy, and I think that it is something that, it doesn't make a lot of sense. When you're trying to appeal to younger fans, it's not done by putting a runner at second base to begin the 10th. Well, if it's that important, why don't they do that for every inning? Adopting softball rules that weren't very good in the first place, and gimmicks at that, is not going to save baseball. They do that in the minor leagues. The idea, hey, we've got to save arms. Well, you know what? They say it's all about, in minor league baseball now, not so much the game, but the event. We go to Cardinal Park, not really to watch the next St. Louis Star. We're around here roots for St. Louis. No, we go to check out the bar in left field. All right. But there are several reasons, I think, why attendance is down again. Rebuilding teams are getting hit hard, and that's one of the things here. I was telling you, hey, Manny Machado, he was batting against the Braves in the top of the first inning for the Padres. Why is he not playing for the Orioles? They groomed him. They, established him as a player. I'm not saying we need to go back to the reserve clause, but maybe when you develop a player, fans would like it if they could expect that he would be an Oriole or whatever team it might be, and not be a rent-a-player who, in the last 12 months, is now on 3 different teams. That's Manny Machado, who should be one of the big stars of the game. But how can we identify him? What team does he play for? San Diego? Well, that's kind of big for San Diego, but all right. Who's going to root for San Diego in East Tennessee unless Ed Whitson is pitching for them in a bygone era? You couldn't have in that era either picked up the broadcast on the radio either. Well, now you've got the internet and all that, but even then, it's pay-per-view. It's boxing. How's boxing's popularity been since pay-per-view replaced the Friday night fights? Yeah. Anyway, baseball, I mentioned this before, there are 12 teams that are on track to draw less than 20,000 fans. I know it's early. I know the kids get out of school, the attendance will go up everywhere and all this. But, here we've got the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays actually have the best record in the American League. Actually, no, excuse me. Twins won last night. They now have the best record in the American League. But the Rays never draw. There's a lot of reasons for that. Franchise probably would have been better off in Orlando than Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, for whatever reason, has a huge Yankees following, and there are so many transplants in Florida that the newcome Floridian is more apt to root for the team that he grew up with than the new team in his new hometown. That's been, a big thing with the Rays not having. They talk about the Dome Stadium. I've been there, the Sun Dome. I mean, it's, say what you will. It is kind of like going to an arena, not a ballpark. I'll give you that. But then again, there's something for the game is going to be played at the time and date that it is said to be in, and there will be no rain delays. So I'm not, that big on, the fans there were actually pretty decent and passionate fans and all that. Yeah, you were watching a ball game indoors, but, with all the rain that Florida gets and all that, that's probably a good thing. Maybe you'd like to be able to open a roof up every now and then, but I just don't think the ballpark is that big of a deal. Certainly Toronto, where the attendance is down right now, when they opened up, it's now Rogers Center. It was originally Sky Dome. They sold out every game for, a year or so. 50,000 at that time. The Blue Jays are far from the only rebuilding team to lose fans. Marlins, the Twins, who have the best record, but what bothered me about the Twins in Target Field, it's real nice. I'm sure it is in July. Minneapolis, April 1. How nice is it? And let's say the Twins keep their winning up, and they go to the World Series. Yeah, that would be real nice. Outside in Minnesota, around Halloween. Baseball's changed, and not for the better. This is the problem. It isn't the weather, by the way, if you're wondering. There have been fewer postponements in 2019. The average temperature is also up compared to last season, although I do remember, I think it was the Reds' second or third, it was their second series of the year, if memory serves, and they were playing a game in 35-degree temperatures. And that just, you've got to, if you're going to play, I'm all for starting the season early. I want it to start on the first day of spring. But if you do so, you've got to play the games in dome stadiums, and you got to play them in southern climes. I mean, okay, you want to have one traditional opening day Cincinnati game, maybe on March 21st, the weather will be nice. I get that. You want to do Washington, too. I mean, these two cities aren't Bismarck, North Dakota. There's a chance the weather will be good. But other than that, there's a reason why the Pirates, for I think it was 60-odd years, always opened up on the road. It was weather. And that's when they opened the season in the middle of April. So think about that. And Pittsburgh isn't Bismarck, North Dakota either. Anyway, I'm going to tell you why baseball attendance, though, is down. And it's a real problem. First of all, they have a commissioner that is insistent on attacking the game, saying that all the rules that we knew before need to be changed. And he does it with such gimmick ways. We need to speed up the game. Therefore, he is saying it is inherently flawed. How does he do this? Is it so much reducing commercial breaks and going with more announcers with in-game reads, as I say that they should do so? No, it's abolishing the intentional walk, which in itself destroys some strategy. See the 1972 World Series if you don't know. But on top of that, I think that the emphasis in political correctness, when you're telling us that there's something wrong with Kate Smith singing God Bless America, there's something wrong with the guidance of the sport, especially when that team is charging $50 to sit in the bleachers on opening day. There's another problem right now for baseball. It's not pace of play, it's Manfred.